Located in the center of America, its culture and its landscape have given its name of the land of eternal spring. Due to the Civil War, Guatemala had its own genocide in the early 80s, and the war left hundreds of people in poverty and misery. This armed conflict was the cause for hundreds of Guatemalans to migrate, not only to America, but to Europe as well. Despite the coldness of the Civil War, Guatemala rose from the ashes into achievement. But unfortunately, 20 years later, the name is named the most shaken by violence in Central America. However, the quality and generosity of many Guatemalans placed the land of eternal spring in the World Happiness Report as one of the top countries. Juan Gonzalez from birth stands out as a fighter because he managed to survive an infection in the bloodstream, and after months of struggle, manages to leave great happiness to his parents, because he was the 5th child in the Gonzalez family, and 3 before him died before 8 months of age. One of the popular neighborhoods of Guatemala witnessed his childhood and his love for sports. At the age of 9, he was the champion of the Central American Games of Taekwondo. At the age of 17, he was seen in the frames of the Boxing Federation of Guatemala. At the age of 16, he visited for the first time the United States of America, coming with his aim of importing vehicles to his own country of origin. Almost 2 decades after his birth, he witnessed his first gift of life, named Dulce Alejandra. It was in those years where he managed to study and develop as executive chef, managing to practice his talent in upscale restaurants, and in 2009, achieving his own coffee place called Fernando's. Jahaira, a Guatemalan origin, has been the faithful companion of this Guatemalan, and is the mother of Dulce Alejandra and Christian Fernando, and was also the largest witness of their struggles, passions, and triumphs. Family is all. Work and investment in the family and making them be productive for the community depends on our education. Gonzalez, during the last years of stay in North America, has worked with the recognized international pacifist Dr. William Soto Santiago, who has been his spiritual master and daily guide. Juan Gonzalez has developed several campaigns for peace and nonviolence under the guidance of Dr. Soto. Campaigns that have been developed at the international, political, commercial, spiritual, and educational level. Being able to see the needs of a society full of materialism allows him to develop constant leadership. Currently, Juan Gonzalez is founder of the first bilingual magazine in the Massachusetts area called Without Borders Magazine. He recently acquired a franchise of the greatest scientific discovery called transfer factor. Achieving this medical advance helps hundreds of people develop economical income and gives hope to those who develop illnesses. Theological formation of this Guatemalan always remembers the golden rule: love your neighbor as yourself.
Hola, muy buenas noches. Good evening. My name is Juan Gonzalez, founder and editor of Without Borders magazine. The video that was just presented is also part of my story. So we're gonna be going to the next point. And first, I would like to thank and also giving a warm welcome to each and every one of you, as well as the candidates that have made themselves present to the first Latino forum called Conozca sus Candidatos. The idea and creation of Without Borders magazine was with the purpose of constructing a bridge of communication between the Anglo and Latino community. As a founder and also believing in equality and respect to human rights, I would like to state that none of the questions received are associated with my person, and I also believe in freedom of expression, democracy, and respect. I hope that in this evening, all those present and the candidates can be maintained under these principles. I have received emails, many of them are associated with immigration. However, we choose 7 questions by different faith and community leaders, as well as people of this beautiful community. This evening, we have 3 candidates, 3 visionary leaders: Charlie Gallo from Lynn School Committee, the activist Catherine, and the Counselor at Large, Brendan Crichton. Please, share for them. This forum will be 1 question per round. Each candidate will have a minute and a half to give us the answer. After the 7 questions, each candidate will be given the opportunity to make 1 question to another if we have time, okay? We have Joy Bartlett from Lynn Club, please stand up, who will be helping us to take some questions from the public, again, if time allows. So please make your own introduction and let's start it. Thank you. We're going to start with Charlie, then Katerina, Brendan. It's going to be the same with the questions.
Okay. So thank you, Juan, and thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to speak briefly in Spanish and say, Buenas noches, mi nombre es Charlie Gallo, and gallo significa rooster, right? Gallo means rooster. So remember the rooster, September 9th. My name's Charlie Gallo. I'm a candidate for state representative. I'm a current Lynn School Committee member. I'm also an attorney. I represent senior citizens and retirees. I've served on the school committee since 2011, and I know that schools are an important issue to all of us here. And in those 2 terms, we have put shovels in the ground for the first new school in 15 years in Lynn. We've turned the Lynn School District around so that it's no longer labeled a failing school district. Can you translate this, right?
Sí, soy Charlie Gallo, soy abogado, soy miembro del comité escolar. Hemos trabajado durante algunos años dentro del sistema, estamos improvisando.
And the other issue that we've worked hard on is jobs, and I've been responsible for opening up our Lynn Tech High School at night to train adults who are unemployed or who are underemployed to get work. And as state representative, I want to prioritize creating jobs specifically for people here in Lynn. I'm running to be your state representative because of how much I care about this community and because of my strong work ethic. My family came to Lynn from Italy. I was first in my family to graduate from college, after that law school, and I did it at night. I went to work 9 to 5, law school 6 to 10 at night, and so hard work is something that was really bred into me, and it's something I'm here to offer you as your next state representative. Thank you.
Primeramente, agradecemos a Juan González por invitarnos. Agradecemos también al público por su presencia y igualmente a las personas que están con nosotros vía televisiva. Mi nombre es Ekaterina Kudanis Panayutakis. No tengo una carrera política. Soy una ciudadana sumamente involucrada en asuntos de interés de la comunidad. No tengo temor cuando se trata de defender los derechos de nuestra comunidad. Estoy luchando por la transparencia transparencia del gobierno y oportunidades que creen una sociedad saludable para un buen ambiente, una buena educación y una buena economía. Quiero ser su representante estatal para mejorar la calidad de vida para todos y también para la generación futura. Tengo una licenciatura en arquitectura Wentworth. Usaré mis habilidades para crear planificaciones. Soy hija de padres inmigrantes y entiendo perfectamente las dificultades de la comunidad.
Muy bueno. Lo siento, mi español es muy mal. Buenas noches, my name is Brendan Crichton. I'm a counselor at large in the city of Lynn. I also work for State Senator Tom McGee, where I've been for the past 9 years. It's been an honor to serve the city and really work on a wide variety of issues at the State House, including constituent services, budget, legislative, and committee work. And I think most importantly, being an effective voice for you in government and making sure that the services that you deserve are being provided. So I'm running for a state representative simply to continue that service and to help Lynn reach its full potential. And my focus, in addition to constituent services, on creating jobs and opportunities for our district. And I'm very proud of my record on that, and I look forward to the event. Thank you so much to Juan and to the other candidates and to all of you for being here for this productive discussion of ideas. Thank you.
Bueno, también quisiéramos preguntar si en esta noche necesitan de traducción, pues con mucho gusto estaremos traduciendo también. De lo contrario, pues lo haremos con el lenguaje inglés. Así que si necesitan traducción, pues déjenos saber en estos momentos para hacerlo de esa manera. Si no tenemos otro punto, pues like I said, the forum will be one question per round. You guys got 2 minutes, so please, let's start. Question number 1. Can you tell us what your relationship has been with the Latino community in the past 5 years?
Thank you for the question. My relationship with the Latino community has been a really positive one. I serve on the school committee and was elected to the school committee first in 2011, and we have in the Lynn Public Schools a majority Latino student population, and as a result of that I've gotten a chance to work with a lot of parents, a lot of teachers, a lot of students themselves to be sure that they're getting a good education. I also happen to serve alongside Maria Carrasco on the school committee, who's the first Latina ever elected to office in Lynn. In fact, her campaign manager, Jim Tarr, sitting in the front row, is now my campaign manager. So we've had a good relationship with the Latino community. In addition to that, my campaign staff is a very diverse one. We have folks from all different ethnicities, age groups, genders, many Spanish-speaking campaign volunteers. We've participated in a lot of different events in the city over the years with the Latino community. A couple that come to mind recently were the Dominican Parade and also the Latino Cookout at Maria Carrasco's house, where I think I was the only candidate to actually attend. So it's been a very positive relationship, and I look forward to continuing that positive relationship as your state representative.
So when I think of my community, I think of everyone is the same to me. I don't see a difference in people. I think I see everyone as just people. And so growing up in Lynn, we have different friends in every area. And so I have Maria Carrasco's a friend, Juan Gonzalez is a friend, Gardy's on the campaign team, and there's several people here who are helping me in my campaign from different ethnicities. I've attended the Hispanic Scholarship Fund and donated to that. And so, I've traveled through Europe, been to Spain. I've studied the culture and how the dynamics are of the planning and just the feel of how people like to live in other countries. And it's very similar to my culture being Greek. We share that we want to we just simply enjoy life, and we want to enjoy it in a city and bring bring that character. Greeks and Latinos are very similar in that we believe in small business. We give our support to small businesses, and I support there's the corner store, and they're Latino. I like Bernie's. I support the businesses in Lynn, and there's many things that we just live together. So there's no separation, there's no difference to me. That's basically the simplest answer I can give. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I was Councilor at Large, I had an opportunity to represent Ward 5 as a Ward 5 councilor. And Ward 5 is really one of the most diverse wards throughout the city. So the partnerships I've had with the Latino community really helped guide me throughout those 4 years, the 2 terms on the council. And people like Juan Francis Martinez of the North Shore Latino Business Association and so many other individuals have really guided me through that. And I think having strong relationships with the youth, the businesses, as well as community events is so important. And some of my priorities in terms of youth outreach really, I think, have sparked an interest in civic engagement in the city. And we started the Lynn Youth Council, which Charlie Gallo was a part of on the school committee end. And I really think we're bringing more folks in to realize how important it is that they're involved with their community. And we've had a really large interest from the Latino community in that regard. And I think also investing in forgotten neighborhoods. If you look around the city, there's so much city infrastructure that has long been forgotten. And recently the city council had passed a bond, a $4 million bond that invested in these. And I was criticized at the time for being so Ward 5 centric. They thought it was just because that's the area I represented, but it was because of the area that had been forgotten. So you look at the new playground over by Lynn Tech, the Neptune Boulevard area there, the splash pad. There are countless families out there in this hot summer sun enjoying that new facility. If you look across the city at a number of the other parks and playgrounds, and even down at Lynn Commons, that used to be really the center for the city to be, for all communities to come together, and the bandstand was crumbling. So we've made these investments in the parts of the city that were forgotten, and I think we need to always be talking to our residents, no matter what their nationality, but the bond that I've shared with the Latino community has been very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Education. Chelsea recently received a national award for its efforts in educational system. Many of the students in Chelsea are immigrants. Why do you think Lynn has not been able to have this progress?
Thank you for the question. I think Chelsea is doing a great job, and there was an article in the Globe a couple of weeks back about the Chelsea superintendent and what they were doing with the immigrant community there, and they're doing a wonderful job and receiving awards very deservedly. Lynn is a bit different than Chelsea. We're a lot larger. For one, Chelsea has 1 high school. Lynn is actually the 5th largest school district in the Commonwealth. We have a total of 26 schools, and we are making progress. At Harrington and Connery schools, which are 2 schools in urban areas in the city, majority immigrant students in both of them. They recently, through the hard work of their teachers, their parents, the staff there, the students themselves, and the school committee, were actually able to get out of failing status, so that for the first time in many years, Lynn is labeled an improving, not a failing district. So that's one area where we've made progress. I also want to mention that many of our immigrant students are becoming great success stories. You know, I attend the graduations every year at the high schools, and we see students from other countries going on to Harvard, BC, BU, Northeastern. Some of them are going to work and providing for their families. Others are working their way through North Shore, Salem State, Suffolk, and they're doing a really great job in the community. I think that Lynn could do better for sure. One of the things I think Lynn shouldn't be doing is going on Fox News, as was done recently, to talk about immigration problems. I do disagree with that strongly, and I have a feeling that some in the room may as well. But progress is being made, and we should be striving to do better.
I'm going to address the question, why do you think Lynn has not been able to have this progress? Simply, it's been ignorance, not having the ability to know how to embrace different cultures. Lynn used to be very successful with this. When I was younger, we had Washington School, and they taught Greek, Italian, and French immigrant students. And there was sort of a separated program, but it was an option for parents and students to have the student keep their culture, speak their culture, and also be American at the same time. Because that's what it means to be American. We're not simply American on a white piece of paper that we're just born in America. No, everyone has a background, and we all have a background. Everyone has roots, whether they came here off the Mayflower. So we need to embrace each culture, and that is a beautiful thing. Chelsea is doing a beautiful thing. They've embraced their culture, and I have solutions what we can do next, and I think I can address that in the next question. Thank you.
Thank you. And as a public school student, K through 12, I really appreciate it. I mean, really, without so many countless teachers, faculty, coaches, and staff at the Lynn Public Schools, I wouldn't be where I am today without them. And I certainly think as a state representative, looking towards additional funding, expanding pre-K as well as after-school program will be so important to help us move forward. But I do agree with Charlie. We've made a lot of progress, and I commend Chelsea. But there's no reason Lynn can't be award-winning next year. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Question number 3. Latinos have as a part of their identity to keep their native language at home. Many of those are not involved with the school system because in Latin America countries, there is no culture of having parent-teacher participation. What type of program or help can be offered to build better relationships between school, teachers, students, and parents?
Thank you. I think that parental involvement is so key when it comes to ensuring a quality education. So we need to do everything we can do to make sure that parents are involved, but also want to become involved, feel as though they can be involved. And that's been my record of the last 2 terms as a Lynn School Committee member. Number 1, I supported the purchase of headphones, sets that translate for you, so that parents who come to a meeting that's given in English are able to use a headphone and hear everything that's going on in their native language. That's been a way to keep parents involved, and I'm proud to have supported it. Number 2, I've supported parents groups, and particularly parents groups that are diverse and have a lot of immigrant representation. The Lynn Parents Organizing for a Better Education group, I know that there are members here. I've attended several of their meetings and worked with several of those members on issues in the Lynn schools. In addition to that, I've supported liaison programs in the Lynn schools so that we have folks who work for the school district able to go to homes, go to the community, work directly with parents, and really bridge the gap between the home and the school. And in addition to that, I supported a concept called the wraparound zone, where we actually provide and partner with different nonprofits that perhaps the Latino or other immigrant communities work with, are familiar with. They're now partnering through this wraparound zone with the Lynn Public Schools. So I think it's important, and I have a record on this, and I'm proud of that record.
So what type of program would I offer to help build better relationships, school teachers and students? There's a number of things. I believe in innovation schools. Now, innovation schools give the parents, teachers, and students an opportunity to customize their education. I believe my contenders here are opposed to innovation schools. They believe in the traditional school system. The other problem I see is that in the past few years, the city of Lynn received computers for the school system. And instead, it was not challenged that these computers did not go to the school system, because what can computers do? Computers can help students learn languages. We can put programs on these computers. That was not challenged. The other issue is Congressman Tierney wrote a letter to the mayor that nearly $1 million is being offered to the city to teach English. And that was not used because it couldn't be used in day programs, or specialized teachers needed to be hired. But why can't we create after-school programs? I went to Greek school for 6 years after American school. I went to American school and I went to Greek school in the evening. I learned, even though I was born here, it was important to my family to keep our language. So we want to be American is to have your heritage as well. So I learned English when I was 4 years old, and I learned, Sesame Street helped learn English. But the idea that innovation schools can create a language pattern, a language element in the school. It could also create art or philosophy, even a cultural aspect. And there are ways we can work these programs, and it just, all we need to do is survey the students. And I just want to finish by saying 22% of the people in Lynn are foreigners. 44% of the people in Lynn speak a different language, which means the foreigners are teaching their children their language. And we need to respect that. Thank you.
I think communication is so important, really across the school system, and also partnering with the after school and other programs that exist out there. For a number of years, I was fortunate to work at the Gregg Neighborhood House over on Broad Street, previously on South Street. And really, one of the top issues that always came up was how can we communicate better with parents, and how can we make sure that connection is also in place for the school system. I'm proud to be on the board of the Gregg House now that I'm no longer employed there, but it still holds true today. I mean, I think really just being able to talk and keep that ongoing communication between parents, students, teachers, after school programs, coaches, really we all are working for the same goal, so we should all be in touch and working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 4. Recently, a large number of organizations have been asking for driver license for undocumented migrants in Massachusetts. This bill did not pass in Massachusetts. However, in many other states, this bill has had as a result safer communities, and at the same time has increased the local, state, and national economy. Do you think that the passing of this bill will have a positive outcome to the state of Massachusetts, and why?
Thank you. Yes, I do think the passing of this bill would have a positive impact in Massachusetts. I think that the Commonwealth should have passed the bill, and if I'm elected, I will support a similar bill to provide driver's licenses. And here's why. It's a matter of public safety to me. Okay, people are going to drive regardless of whether or not they have a driver's license. If you drive without a driver's license, you may be ineligible for insurance. So if there's an accident and if somebody gets hurt or the car is damaged, there'll be no way to pay for that. To get a driver's license, you need to go through a driving test to make sure your eyesight is okay, to make sure that you know the rules of the road, stop signs, street lights, and in order to keep us safe on the road, because people are going to drive regardless of whether they have a license or not, we need to license them. We need to make sure that they have access to insurance, access to the rules of the road, and that they can be safe drivers. It's a matter of public safety, not only for immigrants, not only for the Latino community, it's a matter of public safety for everyone on our roads, and so I support that bill.
I support the bill, and it would increase safety. To think that we're undocumented is really, I'm just throwing an example out there that even if we think we're undocumented, everyone's documented, as Snowden has proved. But so I would also support an international license initiative. Europe is very successful with international licensing. People from different countries could just drive into another country freely with their license from their country, and we need to think globally, not locally, on this issue. I think if we could work on the patterns, create unified international symbols, and just maybe we can even have the English decide to drive on the other side of the road and make things a little bit more universal. But I do believe in freedom. If without a license, we're basically disabled in our ability to go to work, to have to school, to live a normal life.
I agree with my opponents. I'm supportive of this bill, and for the public safety reasons that they had cited. We want our drivers to have gone through driver's school. We want them to have insurance. And we also want them to have passed the driver's test. So I think this would be safe. It's worked in other states, and I think we should do it in Massachusetts as well.
Question number 5. About 10 years ago, Lynn was a place that many don't want to visit. Today, the city of Lynn has been improving in all aspects. How could the Latino community be defended in case of gentrification? Because we received 3 questions in the same, same way. So I think they are really caring.
I think the way to defend against a charge of gentrification is to point out the accomplishments, how much good the Latino community has done in Lynn. Look at Juan's story that we saw on the television earlier today. I didn't know any of that about you, Juan. I was so impressed, and there are many others like you, in Lynn and elsewhere. The magazine that we have here, Without Borders magazine, and look at some of the small businesses that are starting up. Some of the restaurants like Lupita or Tatiana's, some of the insurance agencies that are starting up, some of the nonprofits like La Vida, which is helping Latino students who would be first in their family to go to college to go and further their education. Those are real and true accomplishments of the Latino community that the Latino community should be proud of, that the whole city of Lynn should be proud of.
So this issue I'm very concerned about for the Latino community, for every blue-collar, hard-working person in the city of Lynn is facing this issue of gentrification. The rent is incredibly high. It's difficult to find affordable housing that people can pay out of their pockets. So the problem is we need to help the community build their small businesses, for one. Secondly, we need to stop focusing on providing housing for those who can't afford Boston. We need to come up with a community preservation act to help people who can't afford housing in their own city, in their own hometown. We need a community preservation act, and we need not an act to increase taxes, but to just lay out the guidelines that every policy, every plan that we put in place is to help our own people. Our planning should be an amenity for the people, not an amenity for outsiders that cannot afford to live in a higher expensive place. We need to think about our own students. We have properties in Lynn. Students go to college, they have college loans, and they graduate, and they can't afford to buy a house. Why can't the city of Lynn, there's so much public property, create a program, and this, I'm going to give credit to this is Gardy's idea, it's a great idea, why not give students a loan, a rent-to-buy program so they could stay in their hometown. This is a very difficult issue, and we need to address it instead of planning for the waterfront that's going to attract others, that is not going to be an amenity for the community. And I would like to see a waterfront commission created so the community has a say on the waterfront development. Thank you.
Thank you, and I agree with Charlie. I think really the success we've had in the downtown and in the city is largely due to the success of the Latino community. I mean, if you go down, really throughout the downtown, we have a large number of very successful Latino businesses that aren't just popping up today in the past couple of years. They've been able to sustain that progress. So I hope we can continue to partner with them to see more progress in the downtown. And certainly in terms of housing, we always need to keep an eye on that and make sure that there are affordable options. I think the Housing Authority does a great job, Charlie Gator and his crew, and I think, housing's an issue we deal with at the State House all the time. It's a problem across the state, and it's something that we always need to be mindful of. But I think the success of our businesses is in the downtown is really another issue altogether. Thank you.
Ok, recuerden, si tienen alguna pregunta, pueden hacerla y pasárnosla. Que por ahí hayan preguntas, pueden pasar los papeles si hay preguntas, por favor. Y si no, pues pueden levantarse también y hacerlas directamente. If you guys got some questions, we're going to finish those questions, then we're going to make some space to give the opportunity to all of you to have some questions. Question number 6. We have many emails with this topic. And I think that's because the Latino, they really care. They really care. Immigration. Immigration reform has been a subject that every day has more interest. Recently, we saw the challenge of more than 60,000 children at the southern border, many seeking a family reunification. However, many of these were deported, and updated information shows 5 of those children have already been murdered in Honduras. Would you be in support of having an immigration reform, and how would you contribute?
Thank you. Yes, I support immigration reform, and I think we need to understand that we're a country, a nation, we're a commonwealth, and we're a city of immigrants. No matter where we came from or where our families came from, maybe it was Guatemala or Honduras, maybe it was Ireland or Greece. My family came from Italy, and when they came to Lynn, they lived a lot like they did in Italy, with vines, grapevines in their yards, altars in their homes. They lived here as many new Americans do when they come to Lynn. So what can we do about it? There are a few things we can do about it. One is that we need to try to find a way to shorten the lines, shorten the wait to get citizenship. That way people are able to come here legally. I went to a forum on this subject a couple of months back with my friend Congressman John Tierney, and looking at some of the wait lists and the countries that had those wait lists, the Philippines comes to mind, where you're waiting back to people who applied in the 1990s for a chance at citizenship. So we need to shorten those time frames and shorten those wait lines. Secondly, we need to have a humane policy for people who are fleeing terror, people who are fleeing oppression. Folks may be coming to the United States because they're leaving a war or a genocide or some kind of a humanitarian disaster. We need to be sure those people, the United States, can help them as they should and as we have a good history of doing. Finally, we need to sympathize and be humane with those who have crossed under really unfortunate circumstances, particularly the Honduras and Guatemala circumstances, where we're seeing a whole industry of people being paid thousands of dollars to do border crossings, and we're seeing 1 in 5 of the young girls who are crossing the border being assaulted during that period. Those are the issues we really need to work on.
Yes, I am supportive of an immigration reform, and you know, the application is costly. It distracts people from going through the process that they need to road to citizenship, and we need to look at the whole picture. A lot of it has to do with look at our own clothes that we wear, and the food that we eat, and the iPhone that we have, and the jewelry that we wear, the chocolate that we eat. And consider how many slaves a day work for us. There's probably 14 to 20 people a day in the world that work for us. And to consider that we're not going to allow to have them enter the country freely, it's like saying we don't want our own slaves to live in the same country. I mean, I'm just giving a metaphor here of what it's like for people in the rest of the world, and then how we have to deal with a Band-Aid issue. So, you know, like a lot of the refugees, my grandfather's brothers came here as refugees from the Smyrna tragedy when they were young, and then they served in the World War I. So, giving opportunities to refugees and immigrants to gain citizenship by serving for their country is one road of reform that we could also look for. And so there are different things we can do, and I am support of, because we all live on the same planet together. And so what I'm saying is, the big guy here that's making all the problems in the world is the greedy corporations, and we're supporting them right now. And so what we can do at a state level is make sure they pay their fair share, and that the business they do in our country isn't hurting the countries we come from. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can all agree that our immigration system is broken, and it is a federal issue, and we have a very strong congressman in John Tierney working hard to solve that issue. And there's been numerous bipartisan bills that have been brought up and have been debated and have been discussed over the years. But unfortunately, our Republican-controlled Congress hasn't even been willing to allow for the debate on the floor. So until we have a Congress that's willing to debate these issues, and again, not our congressman, he's working hard on it, we're not going to see the real reform that we need across the country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Question number 7. Do you believe it is appropriate to the government to tell a faith-based organization what to do?
Thank you. You know, I think government should never tell people what they can or cannot believe, what religion they can or cannot practice. That's one of our guiding principles here in the United States, that freedom of religion, that we can choose to believe in whatever we want to believe or choose not to believe for that matter. I do think, however, that government has a role to play in setting some of the rules. And I'll give a couple of examples, some faith-based organizations recently did not want to provide full health care benefits to their employees. And I think that government was right in telling them that they need to provide full health care to their employees. There were others that did not want to hire gay or lesbian staff. And President Obama said that in fact they could not discriminate. They could not discriminate. They needed to hire gay and lesbian staff. And I agree with President Obama on that. So I think, again, we never as people in government want to interfere with the practice of religion, but we do need to set some rules.
So I just want to make one correction. Gay and lesbian discrimination is not part of any religion that I know. I've been educated in the Catholic religion from 1st grade to 12th grade, St. Jean's and St. Mary's. I'm Greek Orthodox, and I studied philosophy of religion at Wentworth. Nowhere in that religion or any other religion that I know discriminates against gays and lesbians. What they have is a sacrament that, and this is their religion, a sacrament on creation and what creation means to them, whether they allow people to stem cell research, and that's not discrimination, that's their philosophy and science. So I believe government does not have the right to tell a faith-based organization what to do. It's a constitutional right to freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And speaking on the issue that whether or not it'll be on the agenda tomorrow, whether the school committee will renegotiate the contract with Gordon College, I strongly suggest that the city keep that contract because they're helping the students. Gordon College has gay students. They're not discriminating against the gay and lesbian community. They're very welcomed. They have their other they have a policy on what, I'm not going to go into the policy, but what is appropriate on their campus. But I am in support of the contract, and it's helping the children. There's no issue at the bottom between people. People, any race, any color, any sexual preference, get along and love each other, and that's what religion teaches. There's an issue at the top. The CEO made a mistake, but I don't think we should make an issue of it and just learn how to work together, because we learn how to live together in a very diverse community, and we should be inclusive and not be part of those separations. And I don't think it's tolerated in the program. Thank you.
I'm a firm believer in religious freedom, but I think if you're taking away someone's rights, if you're discriminating against them, or if you're causing harm to them, the government does have a right to intervene and interact with that. Thank you.
Okay.